Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're visiting with our partners and friends at Christus St. Francis Cabrini Hospital, and we're talking about a subject that's near and dear to the community's heart, and that is Children's Miracle Network and the work that they are doing to be agents of change in our community. And nobody is working harder than the team at Children's Miracle Network. Kellie Veillon is our guest this morning. She's the program director for the Children's Miracle Network, and it's always interesting to see how you're growing and expanding. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so every time we talk about fundraising, you always come back and let us know where those monies are going and how the expansions are working to service more families and more children.
Right. Well, it's our obligation. This is our 34th year as a Children's Miracle Network hospital, and we have provided, or we are able to provide through community donations, many things that set Cabrini Hospital apart through our NICU, our Pediatric Therapy Center, and our school-based centers. Through those departments, we've touched a lot of kids in terms of whether it be charitable care. A lot of times, almost all of our school-based health center children benefit from free health care, in 17 of those. And
the beauty of that is that with those school-based health centers, parents don't have to take off work to take children to the doctor.
That is true, and that's the number one thing we're hearing from the public, but we also hear from the principals over those schools that kids are missing a lot less school. They're receiving not just, immunizations and shots, but they also receive mental health counseling. I mean, how great is that? In some cases, that could cost a parent upward of $200 per appointment before or after insurance is involved. And we are so proud that our board, spends a lot of time going over all of the needs, the high needs that are important to this community in central Louisiana, all the way out through 14 parishes around Alexandria. They look at all of those needs that are coming in, and they evaluate, where can we spend our money the best? What types of program, equipment will change the most lives in a very diverse way? Because we, Christus Cabrini, our mission is to serve those with a special, all people, all kids, all patients, but with a special concern for the poor and underserved. So we're proud. I'm proud to work for a company who has this mission because I share it as well. And as of right now, we have lots of campaigns and fundraisers that are coming up, with one of our biggest starting very soon, which is our Walmart campaign. But before that happens, we just really want the community to know what their dollars have done over the past year, just their participation with whether it be this fundraiser or any of our other ones, who it's impacted. And school base is just one of those areas. As you know, from personal experience, Pediatric Therapy Center is huge with over 4,000 appointments every month.
Over 4,000 appointments every month. And this is children.
All children from the ages from birth through 18. And they treat anything from severe orthopedic issues to something as simple as a fever blister that may have caused a side effect with feeding or speaking or eating. And I can honestly say that when you visit our Pediatric Therapy Center, almost every single program, item, equipment that you see was paid for by the community of Alexandria and the surrounding 14 parishes, because it's the CMN donations that made this possible, and also made possible our expansion, which is happening right now for pediatric therapy. They've broken ground. I mean, it was a shell connected, but they have started construction. And it is on course to be completed by the end of the summer.
Wow.
So what that means is the 400, it varies the wait list, but it's about 400 right now, wait list children that are trying to get in for occupational therapy, physical, speech, feeding, autism, dyslexia therapies. they're getting ready very soon to be relieved because, once this is expanded, the hospital will be able to later hire additional staff to fill it. But without the space, which is the CMN funded part, we can't do that. So we're super excited about that. And then just again, a lot of people in the community know us most for our NICU, our neonatal intensive care unit for the early childbirths and complicated pregnancies. This is where the tiniest babies go and will live for several months. And we are level 3. That means emergently kids will come in from all over the state, basically, often through the CMN funded transport isolate, and they are treated with the highest technology and level of care that is available in the state. And again, it's another one of those moments where I feel like the community should be very proud.
Right.
Because whether you're in Lafayette or Opelousas, Vidalia, Manny, Winfield, or Alexandria Pineville, any of these areas, it's your dollars that you donated, whether it be through our CMN Mediathon every spring, summer, spring, or whether it's through this big Walmart campaign that is getting ready to launch in July. Those dollars have paid for so many items within our neonatal intensive care unit. And so I mean, even though we want to tell the community about a new campaign, we are just bragging on the support that the community, just regular folks, or even just $1, it pays for a lot in the NICU. We're just wanted to brag and thank the community today for so many items that have made this level of care available.
And it's
to
important
families.
to note that every hospital is not a Children's Miracle Network hospital.
Yes, that's true.
And so that means that families don't have to travel to larger cities to get the care that they receive right here in Central Louisiana.
It is important. And one of the qualifications for becoming a CMN hospital is you must be a not-for-profit hospital, so that funds are not put back into someone's pocket, but go straight back into the services. And that's what we are. We're the only hospital in Central Louisiana with that designation. And so,
I think people get that conflated and really don't understand that all of these monies that are being raised, and that's why we can sit here and talk about and point to all of the services that are being provided, because these monies are not going for bigger salaries. They are going to take care of families and children right here in Central Louisiana in these 14 parishes.
It's true. And with technology and the way the world is today, people are out there and they're looking at different charities and they're deciding whether they're a young person or not, or more mature. They now have the technology to look at charities and decide for themselves where they want to give their money. And it's just an honor to work for a not-for-profit hospital who utilizes 100% of every dollar that comes in directly for the people that we serve, the patients. And in my case, I work for the Cabrini Foundation under Ashley Walker, but I specifically, my passion is the Children's Miracle Network department of our hospital, which are those 3 children's departments we just talked about. And like I said, we're just proud of the community for helping, and we know we can do so much more. And I'd love to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Let's take a break here, but when we come back, we'll talk about the big campaign that's kicking off in July. Almost everybody goes to Walmart, and we're going to tell you how you can be a part of being an agent of change and creating a better service for children and for families right here in Central Louisiana. Stay on point. We're back with that conversation right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're joined by Kellie Veillon. She's the Program Director for Children's Miracle Network, and Children's Miracle Network is really near and dear to our very own hearts. And I love talking about the services. And I was saying to Kelly that I think that every family probably needs to take advantage of the pediatric therapy. And a lot of people just really don't know how vital it is. It's not just whether your child has an impediment of sorts, like a physical impediment or impairment, but sometimes there are sensory issues that families never really connect to sometimes ever.
Yeah.
And you look at these discipline problems and you think, my child is just a disciplinary problem. And sometimes it's a lot deeper than what it appears.
A lot of times it's a lot deeper, and it probably affects almost every family.
Yes.
Has a need for these services, and it does some incredible things. The technology is all research based, and that is one reason it's probably so effective. You know, we stand behind in terms of where these Children's Miracle Network dollars are spent at Christus Cabrini. Research-based, evidence-based treatments, and everything there is the latest, greatest. That is our mission, is to offer Central Louisiana the very best child care so they're not having to go to New Orleans, you know, or out of state. And so we hear this a lot from our families who have used and utilized the services at our pediatric therapy center, that they didn't know that they knew something was off with the child, but they couldn't really identify it. And that, you know, generations of their families had dealt with similar issues, so they thought, oh, they'll grow out of that. And a lot of times that's true, but guess what? Early intervention is research-based in terms of the progress that is made treating these sensory type issues, whether it be an external sensory issue or internal.
Right.
Whether it be psychological or whether it be something that's tactile that they might feel when they eat or swallow.
And I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I was talking to a mother that her child wouldn't eat only certain foods, and that they were having issues with the textures, and they deal with that at pediatric therapy as well.
They do, and it's really, I don't want to say it's a short treatment, but relative to some of the treatments, it can be something that they can work on in several months before you graduate. When you try to treat something like this as a teenager or a young adult, it is almost impossible by that time to rewire the brain. And so this is, while they're young, and the things can still be changed in terms of the neural pathways and the way they're thinking and learning and experiencing these tactile experiences. So yes, early intervention is critical. And again, so much of this, including some of the training, is CMN funded, Children's Miracle Network funded. And we want to do more, though.
And I want to just encourage people, especially after this school year happened, if you had a really, really challenging school year with your child and you feel like it was just about discipline, it may not have been just about discipline. One of the things that they said to us, that the therapist said to us about our little ones that are going to pediatric therapy, is that they needed to slow his brain down.
Right.
I didn't know there was
There
such
are
a...
certain techniques that are research driven that can do that. Absolutely.
And his brain, and the way that his brain is regulated and is running, was causing him to have other issues in terms of how he processed information.
Right. It's amazing what pediatric therapy can do.
And now that there's an expansion for school,
education.
for home, and for all sorts of concerns that you may not even be able to identify as concerns.
And that actually brings up another point, and especially if you have a child in first grade or second grade, maybe even kindergarten, specifically those age ranges, that with your help, with your family help and the teacher's help, they've been given adequate supply for reading, for instance, but there's still, the child is very bright, but you're still seeing a disconnect between what you're supplying and helping the child with and what is happening in school. There may also be discipline issues that happen at around the same time because of what they're experiencing with reading. Well, the dyslexia therapy is actually, it's brain-based, and it's about teaching the children to read through a different part of their brain.
Wow.
And the best time to intervene is going to be first grade. It usually happens when the teacher comes to you and says, you know what, your child is bright, your child is able to do this, this, and this, but for whatever reason, they're a little bit lower on their reading score. They're just slower. It's not that they're not getting it, but that might be a great time to seek help, to make an appointment. And like I said, by the end of the summer, our pediatric therapy expansion should be ready. And a lot of the kids who are on the wait list for these types of therapies, that's just one of many therapies. But it's just, you reminded me that it is this time of the year that you're getting their last report card, and you're getting these reports. And I personally have been in these shoes with a dyslexic child, and I remember thinking, well, this is my brightest child. and then like,
what am I going to do?
This makes no sense at all to me, that there would be a disconnect between fast reading. Now, given the amount of material they're given today is a lot. It's a lot broader than it was when we were younger. But there is not in education as much focus, and this is a fact countrywide. There is not as much focus on sound symbol connections, phonics, like there used to be.
That's exactly right.
That is a systematic teaching of that sound goes with, this particular shape. So it's not just visual, but it's also what they hear, and it uses several different parts of the brain. But that's just another example of the types of research-based intervention that are offered, and that we're so proud to have. And again, going back to the community, it wouldn't exist without the thousands of people over the years who give $1 or $2, and those who give large gifts to Children's Miracle Network at Cabrini Hospital. This would not exist. Any of these therapies, any of these things that don't seem like major health issues. They're not large events, as you were just saying. You're having a broken leg, or this is something that's very subtle. And
you could really miss it if you're not careful. But here's what we want people to know, that Walmart is having a huge campaign starting in July.
Yes, and it's basically at your favorite Walmart store. You pick the store if you are within our viewing area, and I pretty much guarantee you 100% of that money at that self-checkout or that cash register for the month of July will come straight to Children's Miracle Network.
And so what do they need to do? Just check, I want to give?
Just as you normally, as you normally shop. If you're at a regular register, they'll ask you, but they'll just say, would you like to give to Children's Miracle Network? And a lot of people think, oh, that's a national organization. No, it all stays here. And that's that's another beauty of Children's Miracle Network, is the zip code you give in is you have a hospital connected to that zip code. And so any of those, whether it be in Winfield or Lafayette, Alexandria, the neighborhood markets or the super centers, and even our Sam's Club has done a lot for our hospital over the years. That ask, just remember, that's Cabrini's kids. That's pediatric therapy. That's school-based. That's NICU. Just keep that in mind and know we're a little different than some other charities for that reason. And I guess the main thing is at the self-checkout, we're all in such a hurry, but when you get slowed down with that question, would you like to give to Children's Miracle Network? Again, just know it's 1 month only. I think it starts June 28th. So, but it's almost the full month of July through July 25th. That's the only time of the month you'll be asked that question, and it would mean so much for us to do even more for Central Louisiana, for you guys to help us with this. We have all kinds of interesting items and services that have been identified by our board and the leaders in our hospital as urgent needs to keep us abreast of the most current technology at the highest level.
Absolutely. And we're gonna continue to visit all of the services and all of the things that Children's Miracle Network provides in the communities, the 14 parishes and the communities that they serve. Kellie, thank you for being on the front lines, for the work that you and Ashley and the team at the foundation do. It's incredible work.
Well, thank you for sharing it, and thank the community for helping us with all our fundraisers.
Indeed. Please remember the month of July, the end of June, the month of July, give to Children's Miracle Network through Walmart. Stay on point, everybody. We're back right after this.